Hello, hi, welcome to another episode of Healing Space. I am your host, Cara, or Cara, or Charisma, whatever you want to call me. I am your friend and biggest cheerleader. Today's episode is going to be about anxiety. Oh my goodness, I know, just the word can make us feel a little anxious, but please stick with me through this podcast, this episode, because I'm going to get into some really helpful tools for all of us here. I am actually excited to talk about this topic, which says a lot because anxiety isn't a very fun topic now, is it? But it's something so many of us feel. Let's dive right into it. But first, as always, we need to thank our sponsor, UCB. UCB is a company that doesn't just care about our physical health or researching or finding medications for us. They also deeply care about our mental health, which shows that they care about us as a whole person. They don't just see us as some sort of patient. They see us as people. Just for that, I want to say thank you to UCB. What actually is anxiety? Anxiety is your body's alarm system, and it is meant to alert you to possible danger so that you can react. You might feel it as like a racing heartbeat, muscle tension, trouble sleeping, or that like restless, uneasy feeling you can't seem to shake. Sometimes it's helpful. It gets you moving, preparing, taking action. Then other times, especially when it's triggered over and over again, it can wear you down, which isn't fun. We don't like that. How is HS and anxiety linked? With HS, the triggers for anxiety are everywhere, from the painful flares to not knowing when the next flare will happen, changes to your body that affect your confidence, worrying about intimacy, wondering how friends or family or coworkers will react, even managing appointments, treatments, and the costs can add to your stress. And here's the kicker. Anxiety doesn't just react to HS. It can actually feed it. When you're anxious, your body releases stress hormones, and that can increase inflammation, increase HS. For someone with HS, that can mean flares last longer, healing times are longer. It can become a two-way street with HS fueling anxiety and anxiety fueling HS. What the research says about this is we do have some solid research showing this connection. In a 2025 JAMA Dermatology study, over 10,000 people with HS were compared to more than 40,000 people without it. People with HS were 48% more likely to experience anxiety. And one of the most interesting parts I found about this is it didn't matter the severity or stage of your HS. If you had stage 1 or stage 3, you still felt anxiety the same. In a 2024 US study, nearly 9,600 HS patients showed higher rates of anxiety compared to the almost 1 million people they tested that didn't have HS. In 2020, a body image study of HS patients reported more struggles with self-image, especially around intimacy, and these struggles often went hand in hand with feeling anxious. A 2023 review of HS showed that HS may influence mood and stress levels not only because of the emotional impact, but also the inflammation in the body can affect brain chemistry. And then in a meta-analysis, around 1 in 5 people with HS reported feeling anxious. That is about double the rate of the general population. Why this matters and why I'm telling you all this is when you see the link between HS and anxiety, it can become clear that managing HS isn't just about treating your skin. It's about supporting mental and emotional well-being. That might mean talking to therapists, practicing stress-reducing techniques like deep breathing or meditation, or finding a support group where you share your experiences. Thankfully, hsconnect.org has plenty of support groups designed to help you find community in your own HS journey. There is the Brotherhood. There's one for parents. There's one for teens. There's so many different support groups. You can go check it out at hsconnect.org. You will find us there. I really hope that you also utilize that fantastic resource. Because the thing here is, anxiety is part of your body's survival system. It's not a weakness or you overreacting. It's your body trying to protect you. With HS, we just have to find ways to remind ourselves and our system that we are safe and we can calm down. So all of this anxiety talk might even have you feeling a little anxious right now. We might have even gotten your anxiety response a little heightened. I'm sorry about that. Please don't run away. Stay with me here because we're going to get into the tools soon. Maybe it might have even set off your flight, freeze, or flop response. So what's that, you might ask? let's welcome our guest and we can talk about how anxiety can trigger our nervous system to go into these responses. Here's our guest. Hi, Imani.
What's poppin', Cara? Hey, podcast, Healing Space.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Today's topic is on HS and anxiety. I just started to talk to our listeners about the fight, flight, freeze, or flop responses. So what these responses are, there is flight, which is when you want to run away from the situation as fast as you can. Fight is when you want to push back. Freeze is when you feel stuck and your mind goes blank. And flop is when you want to keep the peace, even if it's at your own expense. So have you ever heard of these before?
This is the first time I've ever, I've heard those words, but the meaning behind them, I have never.
Responses are part of our survival system. It's designed to protect us in dangerous situations. The problem is, the body doesn't always know the difference between a life-threatening danger and the ongoing stress, like the kind that comes from living with hydrodynamics. It won't always know the difference. Like a new flare could set your nervous system off in the same way as your body perceiving that you woke up and there's a bear in front of you.
Oh,
Our brain isn't always able to distinguish the difference, which, if you woke up and you're constantly there's a bear in my bed, you'd be a little stressed out. And that's kind of how we live when we constantly wake up and it's oh, there's a new flare, and you wonder how that's going to affect your day. How these responses are tied to anxiety and HS. So let's explore this. I'm going to give us a real life scenario. Are you ready? Okay. So I want you to picture this. You've been invited to an out of town wedding. You've packed your favorite dress. It's elegant. It's sleeveless. You've been looking forward to wearing it for weeks. The morning of the wedding comes and you wake up and your armpits are flaring. Bad. The kind of flare that makes every movement ache. You don't have time to shop for something new, and this dress is all you brought. You think about throwing on a jacket or something over it, but that would totally ruin the look. The clock is ticking and that uneasy, restless feeling starts creeping in. Your mind is spinning. What if people notice? How am I going to sit through this whole day like this? Anxiety kicks in and your nervous system jumps into action, trying to help you handle what it sees as a threat. And that's when your body might push you into one of the 4 stress responses: fight, flight, freeze, or flop. That is a mouthful. So in these responses, it could look like this. Fight. You lash out and get defensive. You slam the dress down and you mutter, "Why does this always happen to me?" You snap at your partner or your friends and they offer suggestions, insisting they don't understand what it's like. The tension makes it even harder to get ready, and now you feel upset and rushed and spend the whole wedding fuming and hyper aware of your armpits, barely enjoying the moment. Now we have flight. You avoid the wedding entirely. The thought of walking in a sleeveless dress with visible swelling makes it unbearable. You decide it's not worth the embarrassment that you perceive, and you send the bride an apologetic text, and you decide to stay in your hotel room. Then we have freeze. You stall until you run out of time. You stand in front of the mirror holding the dress stuck. Maybe you find a jacket. No, that'll ruin the look. Should you skip it? No. What if everyone notices? You keep going back and forth until the clock says you're already late. Now you're scrambling, stressed, and walking in halfway through the ceremony. And then we have flop. You go, but you completely shut down, feast on a smile, and promise yourself you'll just blend in, keep your arms pinned to your side, and avoid dancing and nod through the conversations without really engaging. You make it through the night, but you leave feeling unseen, exhausted, and even more self-conscious. So I'm sure you and probably lots of our listeners can see yourself in at least one of these scenarios, maybe even bits and pieces of a few of them. If I were in this scenario, I know I'd resonate most with fight and flop. I know that for me, I would get defensive. I would probably project all of my anger and irritation about my HS making me feel insecure in my dress, probably onto someone that I care about. And they'd be like, "Why are you being so grumpy?" And I just wouldn't know how to explain it. And I'd be very defensive, which would be because I'm anxious, I'm going into a fight mode and projecting it onto other people. And then by the time I got ready to actually go to the wedding, I would be exhausted like so tired that I would end up flopping, because now I'd probably start feeling guilty about being grumpy with everyone around me, and then go to the wedding and then flop and just try to pretend like I'm fine, minimize how much pain I'm in, to try and have everyone around me not be bothered by the fact that I am actually very bothered, and try and, I don't know, keep the peace and minimize how I feel. And that's how I would react to my anxiety responses with the whole scenario I gave. Like, how do you think you would react in that scenario?
For me, I think it's a little bit of because flight was which one was the one with the flight? Flight was that
So, fight's when you're defensive.
mm,
Flight is when you kind of just like leave, like you avoid the situation. Freeze is being stuck, where you feel stuck in the situation and you don't know what to do. So fight's like you're fighting the situation. Flight's like, I'm leaving it. I'm not dealing with this. Freeze is you just stay stuck in it. You're like, there is a situation. My feet are stuck. I don't know what to do. And then obviously flops. Like, I'm just gonna like try and make the situation not seem so bad, even though it's really bothering me.
I feel like flop low key is like my biggest one because I really just like I think I'm so used to just like really playing it off as just like I'm good, like I'm fine. Like in reality, like you got a whole pad on, like you're draining out, like you're just so mentally drained from just like having to think about this because you're not only thinking about that, you're thinking about like the wedding, you're thinking about like the people surrounded you. But then there's a part of me that also does that flight too. And like half of me is just like, I don't care. I was like, what, just give me the pads, give me the stuff. Like, let's go. Let's just get this done and over with and just handle what we need to handle so we can get home. But like, I think it's like sometimes it can be like a mixture of both. And I guess it kind of is just depending how I'm feeling at the time. Because I've noticed like there are times where I'm just like, all right, I got this. But then there are times where I'm like, ooh, let me make sure I got this handy and everything like that. And you, you don't want to, project that on people because it's just like you feel like you're a burden. Like I felt like a burden so many times when it came to stuff like that. And you're just like, you try not to, but it's hard not to when you're going through flares, when you're going through the mental part of it and just dealing with HS in general. So I think it's a matter of just like both I think flight and I think the flop for me, but I feel like with the others as well, like I feel like I can experience them at different times. So
Yeah.
definitely that flop and flight,
Mhm.
definitely.
I feel like you hit such a good point too, that we can have so many bits and pieces of all the different responses. It's
Mhm.
not always like we just fall into the one category. Like
Mhm.
when we have an anxiety response, I feel like we could like totally go through all of them within like 10 minutes, because
Mhm.
it's just so complex.
Heavy on 10 minutes because it can bring I could be
Right?
good 1 second and then crying the next and then I'm like, I'm okay. Like
Yeah.
definitely. It's a lot of emotions.
There is. It's like, okay, I'm like fighting this. I'm angry, and now I'm like
Mhm.
upset that I'm angry, so I'm flopping, but now I feel
Mhm.
frozen because I don't know what to do because I'm flopping. So
Mhm.
I'm just gonna get out of here.
Yeah.
You just like go through all of them. I
Yeah.
feel like, so thank you for sharing that first.
Mhm.
And now I hope that our listeners can also go down and share how they feel like they would respond to the wedding dress
Mhm.
fiasco situation, which really isn't a fiasco. Like, who cares? But we care. Our
Mhm.
anxiety tells us that we care.
Yes.
So now I want to go into giving us some tools, because I don't, like you said, like sometimes we feel good and we're able to be like, let's just handle this. And
Mhm.
then other times we don't always feel like that.
Mhm.
And we don't know what to do. You're like frozen, you're flopping, you're fighting, you don't know how to move out of the anxiety response to be
Mhm.
able to get to the wedding. Because at the end of the day, that's where we want to be.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go through some tools and also tie them back to the scenario. You ready?
Ready like Freddy, let's go.
First tool is going to be 444 breathing. Have you ever heard of this?
I'm learning, Cara. I'm learning
Oh,
today,
I love it. I
girl.
love it, because I'm sure the listeners are learning as well. So we're all going to learn this in real time. So what it is slow intentional breathing, and it tells your body it's safe to like lower your heart rate. And how you do it is you inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, and then you exhale through your mouth for 4 seconds. It's really that simple, and it helps lower your heart rate. And then I normally repeat this for like 4 cycles. So 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. It's easy to remember. In the wedding scenario, maybe you're snapping, trying to zip up your dress, or you feel panicky before you're heading in the door. I feel like we've all had those moments. And what you can do is take a second to do the 4, 4, 4 breathing to help settle you to be able to think clearly to move forward. Our second one is one that I don't think a lot of people have heard of, and it's actually one I've done for a little while now when I'm flying, and it is what I call the sour candy snap. Have you ever heard of using sour candy for anxiety?
No, wait, what is that? Cara put me on, girl.
Right? My go-to candy for this is Warheads because they're so sour. The Sour Patch Kids can work if you're super sensitive to sour. I don't find that they're, maybe I'm too anxious. I need like the most, I'm like, Sour Patch Kids aren't strong enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
But Warheads are my go-to, especially because they're in like individual little packages and you can open them up. So should probably explain how it works. So how sour candy works is it's a sensory jolt that pulls your focus away from your smiling thoughts, pulls you away from your spiraling thoughts. All you have to do is open up the package, pop the sour candy in your mouth, and then pay attention to nothing but the sour, tangy flavor until it fades. How you could do this is like if you're frozen trying to figure out what to do for getting to the wedding, you could just take the sour candy, pop it in your mouth, and then just focus on the sour taste. And it jolts your nervous system out of whatever it was hyperfixated on. And then typically, which is also why I like the Warheads, it becomes sweet. And then you can just be like, okay, we're good. Let's rethink about this. And I mean, pulling us out of the whole wedding scenario, I do this when I'm taking off on planes. Pop it in my mouth, and then like when I'm taking off and feeling anxious, I'm just like, oh, sour, 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 sour. All I think about it. And then by the time I'm in the air, it's like sweet. And I'm like, ooh, I did it.
Yes.
Right?
I like that.
Right? I keep them, like, I have like Warheads in my purse all the time.
Oh my
So when
gosh.
I'm just out and about, I'm like, pop
Just
it in my
pop
mouth.
them. Mm-hmm.
And then I make a bunch of like crazy faces because they're so sour. But honestly, I bet you people think that they're like my favorite candy and I don't even like them. But
Little do they know it's helping us.
yeah, I'm just like at the bulk barn, like just dumping like bags. People are like, wow, she really likes these candies. I'm like, no, I'm just anxious.
Just anxious.
For our third one, we have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding. Have you heard of this one?
I feel like I have, but remind me, refresh my memory,
Okay.
girl.
How it works is you have to name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 1 thing you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Look at me, nailed it. Bonus points if the 1 thing you can taste is the sour candy. We'll just like stack. So
I
like the scenario, maybe you're like trying to get ready for the wedding and you don't know what to do. You're feeling stuck. So you would just like start doing that. You'd like name 5 things around you. Like I can see a bunch of makeup on the floor from when I got ready, the pile of dishes over there. Start like naming everything and then it can help ground you. Have you heard of that one?
so because I experience a lot of brain fog and fatigue, and
Mm-hmm.
I get very stressed. Like I get very just like overwhelmed, and then the anxiety kicks in. And I was on ChatGPT, and I was like, I need help. Like, how do I like just come back down from this and everything like that? And my brain fog can last for a very long time. So I asked ChatGPT, and it gave me the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I was like, I'm not finna do this. I was like, what? Come on now. I was like, but then I was like, Monty, just sit, like, just really sit down and do it. So when I went outside and like I saw the trees, I was like, okay, I see this, I see that. Like, I'm present, like, just speaking
Mm-hmm.
it. And I'm just like, oh, like, this actually kind of working. I was like, okay. Yes, like, that is like a very, very helpful tool when it comes to
And
that.
you just like tied it so well when you said, okay, I'm present, because that is the whole point of it is to
Mm-hmm.
put you back into the present moment wherever your
Right.
brain's like spiraling to. It's like, no, you're not there, you're here.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then you also tied it right into the next one, which is movement. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you, easy transition.
Period.
Movement, you getting up and going outside.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cannot recommend that enough. That's the
Mm-hmm.
next tool is movement. going outside, moving around the room, just to break yourself out of whatever spiral you're going into.
Hmm.
And then last but not least, which is also one of my personal favorites, have you ever used something like cold exposure? Have you heard of that one?
Only cold exposure was getting an ice pack on my flares. Is that the same thing or?
So that reduces the physical inflammation, but
Hmm.
this one, I guess, to a certain extent, is going to help reduce our mental inflammation. So, how it works is it's very similar to the sour candy, in which it's a shock to your nervous system to get you out of whatever like anxiety response that you're having. So, I'm going to go back to the wedding scenario for this one and also tie it into something I've seen happen, not in just HS patients, but people a lot. So you go to the wedding and all of a sudden you're feeling anxious. You know, when you're like in a social setting and your heart's like going, and all of a
Hmm.
sudden you're just feeling really anxious. I cannot recommend enough. So we're also going to tie in movement, getting up and like going to the bathroom, which I find happens a lot when we're anxious. You know, we run and like hide in the bathroom. Well,
Hmm.
that is us having our flight response. We're running away and going to the bathroom. And a really good way to help us is go to the sink. Are you ready for this? Go to the sink and turn on the water as cold as you possibly can and stick your wrists underneath the water and just stay there. And it can help so much get us like out of our anxiety response. It's one of my favorites. And then if you want to start stacking, you can do like the breathing, like start doing some 4-4-4 breathing and just hold your wrists under the water. And it can really help you calm down. I can't tell you the amount of times I've like gone full flight into the bathroom at like one of our HS things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so anxious. And I'm
Hmm.
just sitting there holding my wrists underwater. And then I'm like, oh, I'm good. And then I go back out and people are like, hey, you look great. I'm like, I'm doing great because like I was
Hmm.
able to break the anxiety response. And then ice cubes work really well. Holding ice cubes. I have been at events in which I've gone up and been like, can I have an ice water, please? And they give me my little cup of ice water and I'm just like, to the bathroom. And I'm just in the bathroom holding the ice cubes in the sink. And I'm just like, and then I feel a little bit better.
I need to try that. Like, I genuinely feel like even like when I'm in the shower and stuff like that, like, cause the water be boiling hot sometimes. I'm just like, what's going on in here? I'm like, oh my goodness. But I learned like to take like a cool shower, like
Mhm.
to, I guess to bring everything again, to bring everything to prep, to be present, to bring it
Yeah,
back together.
present moment.
And then once you like really like, once I started doing that and just taking that cool shower afterwards, like you feel like a release. Like you feel like, oh my goodness, like,
Mhm.
everything was all built up, but now it's just released. So especially like holding the ice cubes or
Mhm.
holding your hands, wrists under the water, like it feels just like a release and it's a weight is just automatically lifted off of you. So yeah, just that's I'm gonna
We're
have to
on the
try
same
that,
page with
girl.
that one. Yeah, and it can be so helpful, especially the cold shower too. Like I've had like friends
Hmm.
call me and they're like, "I'm anxious and I'm spiraling," and I'm like, "Okay, you're gonna go get in the shower," and they're like,
Yeah.
"What are you talking about?" I'm like, "And it's gonna be cold, and you're gonna hate
Hmm.
me. I'm so
Hmm.
sorry." But go do it because it does give you this big release after, and you're able
Hmm.
to sleep. And it also gives you such a shock if you get in a cold shower that
For
whatever you're
real.
worried about, you're not worrying about it for that few seconds. It's a reset.
I love that. That's the word, a reset.
It
Hmm.
is a
That's the
huge
word.
reset. And then when you're in like a social setting, there's almost always, which does drive me crazy though, when you go into the bathroom and it's one of those automatic ones that gives you lukewarm water. I'm like,
I can't stand that. Ugh.
I know, I'm like, no, I need straight cold. But that's when you can like go find some like cold water and do that. I've splashed it on my
True.
face before. I'm like, this makeup look's gonna have to deal because your girl is
Yes. Yeah. Love a good
yeah.
refresh.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is a refresh. So like those are all the different things people can do that our listeners can do. You can stack them. You can whenever you're in one of these responses, try one of them out. Like maybe someone's listening to this like cold, I'm not doing that. Like you couldn't pay me $1 million to take a cold shower. Like that's fine. We all have our own things. Like maybe the 5 4 3 2 1 grounding will be your thing. Give them all a try is what I'd recommend. And when we go into different anxiety responses, maybe different tools will also help. Like for me, if I'm in like a fight response, like I'm really pushing back, cold shower might not help me as much as like breathing because it'll help me calm down. compared to if I'm feeling super stuck and I'm frozen. We're gonna pair some like freezing cold water and like get myself to like snap out of it. So I have a worksheet for our listeners that they can go through. You can try them all out and then get in the comment section and tell me and Imani which one is your favorite.
Let
My
us know,
favorite though is going
y'all.
to be the cold. Do you have like a particular one that you go to, Imani?
I think the breathing I would say is my biggest one because I was like I have to tell myself sometimes like Monty, sit down and take a breath. Breathe in the H2O in the air. Just take a deep breath. And I think that 5 4 3 2 1 method also helps, but I think that breathing just giving yourself that time to just like I got this. It gives you a sense of clarity for a second to just be
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, let me see how I can do this in the best way that's gonna make sure that I'm good, that my body is good, and that I'm able to do what I have to do. So I definitely
Even
think that
thrown in a body scan in there. Oh my gosh.
girl,
Take
you
over this podcast
know,
for
we
me.
talking in. We got mental, physical, and emotional because it like it really all does tie in together. Like
Yeah.
I never realized it until like just experiencing like so many different situations when it comes to just HS, and I'm just like, you got to check in with yourself. So I definitely believe like that breathing and the 5 4 3 2 1 exercise definitely is a lot of stuff that I would
Okay.
use. Hmm.
So, well, why don't we do that with our listeners for our outro? We're getting to the end of our episode. For everyone that made it this far, thank you. Thank you for hanging out
Oh.
with us. And let's end it with we'll do the 4-4-4 breathing. So let's all do it together.
Ooh.
Are we ready? We're going to breathe in for
Ready.
4 through our nose, hold for 4, and then out through our mouth for 4. And then repeat that 4 times. And I hope you guys all have the very best day. Thank you, Imani, for being here and being vulnerable and sharing all this stuff with us. I can't thank you enough. First guest. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here on the healing space, and thank you for creating a space for where people are able to tap into that other side of HS because we deal with it physically. But I'm so glad that this podcast is here so we can really understand the mental health side behind HS and how to deal with it in all of those three ways. So thank you again. Like this is really, really important, and I appreciate it.
And we're
And
going to end it here. And I want to say a genuine and heartfelt thank you to listening to this episode. It can be really hard to talk about these difficult topics, and you made it through. And I'm really proud of you. We're going to take a moment to thank our sponsor again, UCB, who is a company that doesn't just care about our skin, but also cares about our mental health and knows how they are one and the same. Thank you, UCB. Thank you guys for being here. That's the end of our episode.